So it's been a couple of weeks since Google launched Gemini Enterprise as a product. And since then, there's been quite a lot of excitement around the value that Gemini Enterprise as a product can bring to organizations and businesses, particularly those that are looking to transform the way they do work in the workplace through AI. And so, enter Gemini Enterprise. I thought today I'd spend a bit of time dedicating this session just to highlighting some of the key areas. What is Gemini Enterprise? What is it not? And what are some of the features and areas of this product that are attractive and can add value to organization and businesses? So the first point I want to just look at, and this is from Google Messaging, thinking beyond just the simple chatbot. So we're all quite familiar with the concept of a conversational chatbot or agent where you're just interacting with a large language model, sending through requests and receiving a response in return. Now, that's all very well, but to really sort of roll out and democratize AI across a large organization and businesses, you need more than just a chatbot. You need an AI platform, something that really takes care of, data governance, security, best practices, scale, etc. And that's effectively what Gemini Enterprise aims to deliver. So in Google's own words, you need a comprehensive and integrated platform, emphasis here on platform, that brings all of your company's data, tools, and people together in a secure place. And so that's really what the way to think about Gemini Enterprise, an AI platform powered by Google's powerful AI technologies. So another bit of sort of product communication from Google's side, and I quite like this, but they've pretty much established these 6 core pillars, if you will, that define Gemini Enterprise and where it really adds value. So the sort of the catchphrase here is the new front door for AI in the workplace, and it actually really makes a lot of sense. So what are you getting in this Gemini Enterprise offering? So number one, you're getting access to world-class Gemini models. So Google, in collaboration with Google DeepMind, are continue to deliver the cutting edge state-of-the-art large language models like Gemini 3, which has recently come out, the Nano Banana Pro models. So within Gemini Enterprise, you're getting access to the latest and greatest models from Google, and so getting some of the best models in the world at this point. The second pillar, in terms of empowering everyone in an agentic platform. So, in order to your users, or in order for AI to be democratized and rolled out across your organization, users need a sort of a platform or a central go-to place where they can access and leverage the power of these AI technologies. And that means being able to interact with agents, automate workflows, potentially even build their own custom agents for their niche use cases, and Gemini Enterprise is delivering that capability. They talk about the putting a task force of AI agents to work. So with Gemini Enterprise, out of the box, you're receiving a couple of pre-built agents that form part of the offering. So you've got your deep research agent. So for example, in an organization, if you're needing to do research on data outside of your organization, for example, data that's available out in the web, there's deep research agents can be very, very useful out of the box to have those available to be able to allow your users and consumers of Gemini Enterprise to be able to leverage AI to facilitate some of those workflows. You're also getting the Notebook LLM, which is effectively an agent offering for managing one's personal sort of documentation and documentation understanding, being able to have conversation with your document, understand, synthesize them, etc., and generate some interesting artifacts from them. So that's something that comes out of the box. And then also, so I mean that's what you get on day one, to already deliver some value there. But really exciting is the ability to bring your own custom agents, or even third-party agents. So you can, if you have the skills in-house, you can build using, for example, Google's ADK, to build your own custom agents and hook them up, and register them into Gemini Enterprise for your users and employees to be able to leverage and use the functionalities that those agents provide. Or alternatively, there's sort of a marketplace of third-party agents emerging, in which case other companies have built agents for particular use cases, and your company can then purchase those, or purchase a license to use those, and then have those available in your Gemini Enterprise application, and again allowing your employees or consumers and users to benefit from those. On the fourth topic, I think is also really relevant to the fourth pillar, to really relevant to talk about. So these large language models are really only as good as the context that you provide them. So if you are wanting AI and these agents to be able to add and deliver real value in your organization, that will often mean them having access to your organizational data. And that can come in many different forms. It might be sort of sitting on drives, for example. If you're a Google Workspace user, it's perhaps sitting on Google Drive, sitting in your Gmail, so your emails and your calendar, your meetings, etc. So that's all relevant business context. And even if you're not a Google Workspace user, if you're a Microsoft 365 user, then business applications like Microsoft Outlook and sort of OneDrive, etc. Those all are part of the Gemini sort of integration ecosystem. So you don't necessarily have to be a Google Workspace user to be able to benefit from what Gemini Enterprise is offering you. And then on the fifth one, deploy and manage with confidence. So again, on the sort of security and governance and auditability aspect, to do and roll out AI across your business, with all the sort of data that's available in your business, you need to, there's obviously restrictions at different levels of access and permissions to, who can access what, and for that to be, controlled very well. And, that again is something that Gemini Enterprise is built to take care of for you. And very important from a compliance governance aspect, to have those boxes checked. And then, finally, but last but not least, being able to reach out or tap into the AI partner ecosystem. So again, the third-party agents, different service providers, connectors, etc., sort of like Jira, etc., these sort of third-party connectors that Gemini Enterprise can currently tap into and connect and integrate with. Those will continue to evolve, and more connectors, third-party solutions and sort of connectors will become available with time. And so it's really building this complete platform offering, covering your entire sort of AI organizational needs. So that's really the way I see Gemini Enterprise is really delivering a lot of value. So I think with that context in mind, sort of what are the core pillars of what Gemini Enterprise is actually offering you, I think it would be useful to actually start, dive into get a bit hands-on, look at the actual window into the AI in the workplace that I spoke about, see what it looks like, and just start getting a feel for some of the features and what's available in that view. So before we get into the actual Gemini Enterprise window, I just wanted to quickly position where Gemini fits into the Google Cloud ecosystem. So, just like any other product like BigQuery or Google Cloud Run, Gemini Enterprise is another product in the Google Cloud Platform ecosystem. And this is the admin view. So as an admin going into this product in the Google Cloud, on your Google Cloud console, you would be faced with this view. This is the view where your admin would configure all the sort of identity settings, the access control, configure the licensing, subscription, etc. for the Gemini Enterprise application. And then once this is done, can be rolled out and given access to by the various users and consumers of Gemini Enterprise, who will then have the window view to interact with. So as an admin, I've set up a simple Gemini Enterprise application, and then I will receive this predefined URL that the Gemini Enterprise application provides, and this is the link that the admin can provide to the users for them to access the Gemini Enterprise functionality. So yeah, the admin would just configure everything and then grant licenses to users and then provide them with this link, and then they would have access. So I'm just going to go to that now. And so this is effectively the cockpit or landing zone for Gemini Enterprise as a consumer or user of the product. And so you met with your typical multimodal cockpit where you can interface with Gemini, the Gemini models which are backing the Gemini Enterprise product. So immediately you can start interacting with it. Hello, as you would with any other large language model experience. A couple of things that I want to point out here. So if your admin has configured it for you, you can have the flexibility to pick from the various models on offer in Gemini Enterprise. At the moment, Gemini 3 is available in Gemini Enterprise, so you're really able to get the latest and greatest model technologies from Google at your fingertips in Gemini Enterprise. So that's really a great benefit to your users and consumers to have sort of the best models available. Similarly, you can add multimedia, like upload pictures, files, audio, etc. So your whole multimodal experience to be able to interact with these models and for them to synthesize and understand your data, and then manage your data. So I spoke earlier on about sort of the data aspects, that these models are only really as good as the data and the context that they have available. So in Gemini Enterprise, the admin can configure these different connectors, and you can obviously, if you're a Google Workspace user, for example, these would be Google connectors to connect to things like my Google Calendar, my Gmail, and so I have access to all of that data almost out of the box if that is configured on my Gemini Enterprise application. For if I were not logged in here as a Google Workspace user but as a Microsoft 365 user, I could still have these connectors set up for my Microsoft 365 applications, like my Microsoft Outlook, for example, and share the same sort of benefits and search capabilities that these models have to be able to reach that data and provide useful insights and responses on that data for me. What's also really exciting, as I mentioned, the ability to bring your own agents. So if you're interacting in this world, you're just interacting with the regular out of the box Gemini model. But if you want more customization and custom abilities on top of that, a really good way to do that is to bring in your own custom agents. So Gemini Enterprise allows one to create your own agents. So they've recently introduced the agent designer, which effectively allows you to build no-code agents, which is really great. It covers all spectrums of knowledge and sort of software development capabilities. If you're not a software person, you can still get the benefit of these agentic capabilities by building these things without code. So for example, if we just proceed to the builder real quickly, you can see we can build our own little agent. So say for example, this is my agent my little agent I want to build. Let's call it my custom agent. I can choose the model that I want to be backing this agent. I'm going to use the latest and greatest Gemini 3 model, and I'm going to say this agent to help me interact with my calendar data, right? So this agent is then going to be, I have a need or use case where I need a little agent to help me with some of my tasks to do with my calendar, perhaps managing my meetings or something for me, or giving me a sense of what meetings are in my calendar for today or tomorrow when I'm planning my day out. And so you can provide some system instructions. So understand my calendar data and provide insights on this based on my query. This is obviously quite simple, and based on the connectors that I have available, I would like this agent to have access to my calendar data, and therefore I'm going to create that agent. And now I can begin a chat with that agent. So you can see that my agent has got access to okay, so because I've got a custom agent, it's obviously restricted what I have access to, because I've specifically given this agent access. This agent's been configured to use my calendar specifically, so I can expect that it only has access to that. So anything I ask it now, this custom agent that I've built will have now my calendar data. So I can say what are my meetings scheduled for tomorrow. Forgive the typo there, but so the agent is thinking now, and it's having a look through my calendar data and will now give me some feedback as to my meetings tomorrow. So that's the one aspect of it. The other aspect is custom agents. So if I go into my agents gallery, we can see, as I mentioned, the pre-built agents that are made available through Gemini Enterprise. So you've got your deep research, sort of grounding in web search, for example. You need to do some research on an open-ended topic that's outside of your organization's data, for example. You can go and use the deep research built-in agent for something like that. There's also an idea generation agent. So if you have a concept and you need some help refining that, sort of understanding maybe some points that are lacking sort of visibility on, or some areas that you need some help with, that agent can guide you through that process and help you with that. And then your notebook LM, if you have documents and you're wanting to have conversations with them, synthesize, understand, generate artifacts from them, then help me take notes, etc., then your notebook LM agent is pre-built and you have access to that. But on another option, if these don't satisfy your particular needs, is your custom agents. So this is not something that you configure at a user level, but this is your admin would allow certain agents to be registered on the Gemini app, and then that would be rolled out to all the users. So I've registered some custom A2A protocol agents onto the Gemini Enterprise app, and so that means as a user of the Gemini Enterprise app with these custom agents registered, I can go and pick one of these that perhaps suits my needs that my admin has allowed users to use. So, for example, I've got a custom weather agent. So if I wanted to do some tasks and some work around the weather or understanding the weather forecast or things like that, I could come here and pick my weather agent, and now I'm actually so you know what is the current weather in London, and I could send that through, and now I'm interacting with my custom agent. So yeah, really across the board, it really feels like a platform. You've got, at the heart of it, at the cockpit, you've got Gemini with all these different powerful connectors, ability to upload multimodal different data files, video, audio, etc. Pick the models that are sort of suitable for your task. Do you want the latest and greatest? Are you fine with something not as great, but your particular use case doesn't require something so powerful? And then being able to go beyond that and bring in your custom agents, and being your custom built ones versus the built-in ones that are ready to use out the box on day one, and that you can start using right away as soon as you've got access to your Gemini Enterprise app.